G'day everyone, it's a bit of a bench update on what's happening for me. I haven't had much modelling time or bench time the last week or so due to work, my shifts at work. So here and there I've been pushing on with the KV2. So last time I think I showed I finished the paint scheme. Now I've done chipping and scratches on certain areas. So to do the chipping, I just use your packing sponge getting like Edard Brasson and stuff like that. There's a piece. This rip pieces off, small pieces, and I grab the old reverse action tweezers to hold it, dip it. I used on this, for this colour, the chipping on it, I use chocolate, which is chipping as suggested by AK. And for the scratches, I just used a really fine long brush. It wasn't that one, I think it was a finer one even still, and just dip that in the paint and just run it along. And then after that, I did for the wash in the panel line and around the bolts and handles and whatnot, I used dark brown for green vehicles on this one. This bottle I've got is pretty old, so when I put it into grab this, I just put it in there, and I actually used a bit of thinners just to thin it a bit more because it's old and thick, but it still worked alright for me anyway. Like I mentioned, I think I've mentioned I'm not a armour builder, but I like doing it, something different. So that's done, and I've given it a gloss coat again. Next up, I'm going to start the next stage of weathering, which will be a wash. As to what, I don't know yet. One of your type of more of this type of thing, which is made for like it's been driving through mud or dust or whatever, that sort of thing. I haven't worked out what colour I want to use yet, but when I get into that, then I'll be getting towards the end. And I've also what you see on the turret and the hull is what I've done to the running wheels, the wheels and the drive cog and the idler wheels. Also, I finished off the 1/700 scale SS Jeremiah O'Brien, and I think I mentioned doing the water effect. I had much trouble, so I started with air drying clay, and before that I had the foam shaped, and I put the clay over the foam, and it just cracked everywhere. And I thought, okay, maybe I did too thin. I did it again, thicker, same thing, it just cracked everywhere. So I got on the old YouTube and had a look at all the gurus who do ships. Borrowed from here and borrowed from there, and ended up I used aluminium foil, so I left the clay there and I did the foil technique, which I'm not going to explain because it's not my technique, but it turned out pretty good anyway. You can see it's got a bit of because I used ply on the base, it bowed a bit, but this is just for me and my display cabinet, and I'm happy with it. So once the foil was down, I airbrushed it white primer, and then I used Tamiya XF17C blue, sprayed it down and lightened it in areas, and kept lightening it with white for the wash from the engine wash, propeller wash. And then I mixed a bit of I think it was XF5 flat green in as well, and just randomly sprayed that here and there in the darker areas of the water. Pretty happy with the way it turned out. This is my first serious, for me, attempt at doing water. The other ones I've done were flat, and I just used what products? Oh, something flying. The other ones I used that type of thing just on flat wood, just to make an ocean technique. So once I'd painted it, and then I gave it a gloss coat to protect it, I used, which one did I use? This one. Water texture, which is a acrylic gel, and I used the big wide soft brush and just tapped it along, so it gives a similar to what the foil did, but higher up, and it dries clear. And once that was dried, then I did the foam wash, and I've had these for years, and I was surprised when I opened it still worked. But it's this is Vallejo's foam and snow, but yep, everyone does them. AK and MIG, Ammo MIG, and all that do them. But I already had it, so I just used it. And that was the brush I used for the clear gel. It's real not. Well, it's a bit stiff because obviously I didn't wash it out properly. But it's a nice soft brush. And when that was dry, I got which one? Acrylic varnish. And brushed, not airbrushed, a paintbrush, and brushed it over the top to make it glossy and look like it's wet. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out for my first serious attempt. So I can hopefully only improve from there. And with the nameplate, I tried something a bit different. So I primed it black, and I sprayed the plate bronze. I've got a couple of different types of bronzes. So I've sprayed it bronze, and then I got this oil paint, copper oxide, and just create a bit of a wash to make it look like it's in need of a polish, just for something a bit different. And also, those who haven't watched, I'm still plugging along on the Phantom. So as I mentioned, I haven't had a lot of time, but I finished painting the scheme, as in I painted in the walkways so that I could weather them to match the paint on the aircraft. And I've started doing decals, stencil data, and I did the one US insignia because that's finished, or nearly finishes the underside. I just still need to do a couple more, and I had to glue the wing tip on to do that decal, because that wing, as you can see, there's a big plate section that sits down and a decal goes on it. I suppose you could cut around that, but there's no need really. And so, and I've decaled all the weapons for it. These are ages because there's heaps of decals on them. So that's coming along nicely, slowly but nicely. So I'm starting to get towards some end of builds here, so I'm excited to, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do next, but it'll be fun whatever it is.